Hello, extraordinary people, and welcome to the Not So Ordinary Minds podcast, Quick Bites edition, where we talk about recent news and events that I find interesting because I'm lazy. Today is a bit more of a notice than anything else, self-admittedly, but we have finally completed the How to Get SEN accommodations for exams resource page for the website. I just wanted to take the time for a Quick Bites episode to quickly explain about why we believe it's important, and just to highlight that it's now out there and available for you all to use. Mainly, that is incredibly important that we make more people aware about the availability of these sorts of things, and particularly is just accommodations for exams. We have managed to compile information for both UK and US applicants, which is definitely a first time. We had to do a lot of research in order to find all those things. Some of them kind of hate me now because they've spent their time reading through a lot of kind of niche looking websites to find the best information, but hopefully now it is fully usable and you can now look at it. But I mostly wanted to talk about why this is so important to us and why we put the time to create this. Mostly because obviously it helps you get the grades that you deserve, but we want to get rid of some of the stereotypes or some misconceptions that people often take, such as how it's a leg up, when in fact, no, it's not something that it's used to give you an advantage. What it actually does is just leveling the playing field, which I hope more people should understand this fact, because oftentimes we spend too much time having to explain to people about this. But what accommodations in exams does is mostly trying to level the playing field so that you're able to perform to the best of your ability, to essentially get the grades that you deserve. And we all want to be able to achieve as much as we are able to. This is mainly pertaining to those with learning disabilities, as that is one of the harder ones to gain accommodations for, as they are an invisible condition often talked about. So I decided to use some sort of an anecdote in order to illustrate my point so that everyone understands. But it's mostly about, imagine you are playing a football match, and one of those people is a two-legged person, and the other team is filled with one-legged people. And these are just people who they don't have any support structures. They're just one-legged and they're forced to just stand there. And you make them to play a football match. Now imagine that you make them play the football match, and obviously the one-legged team will lose. They'll try their best as much as they can with their one leg, and perhaps they'll take the ball a few times, but instantly the two-legged people will quickly be able to just take the ball away from them and score every single time. Now that you see the score, and it is essentially 5-0 out of a 30-minute game, and from that, someone from the outside may just believe that, from this, a one-legged person, all of them, one-legged people, all of them are just bad at football. When we know, obviously, this is absolutely ludicrous. This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Clearly, the one-legged person / people are clearly at a very huge disadvantage here. They can't do anything. And this is what I like to use as clearly is what, like, someone who has a learning difference, when clearly they do not have the innate ability to do something from birth. They were just made like that, and then you try to force them to conform to an idea that a way of thinking that they just cannot do or just not as good at. Would that clearly be fair? And obviously, from our point of view, that is absolutely not. So now, for those one-legged people, you decide to be charitable, yes, and you give them a wooden leg, and you give them more wooden legs so that now you have two legs now. Congratulations. And obviously this is an artificial fix. They don't have two real legs. One of their legs is real, one of them is the wooden. It is not exactly the same as a real leg, but it does help them. And it gives them more of a level playing field. So now they're able to play against the two-legged people, and they do a bit better this time. Now it's 5-3, and clearly they have done a lot better. Not exactly as well as the two-legged people, because they obviously need to compensate by perhaps doing more training for the other actual leg that they do, perhaps trying to use their arms and body more. But just ignoring all of those other factors, clearly a help has worked. And this is what I like to think as accommodations for people with learning disabilities. Essentially, it helps you narrow the playing field by allowing you to address some of your weak points. For example, if you know that it takes a long time for you to process information, but you get there eventually, but it's just that the information comes way too fast for you, then accommodations just allows you to get the time that you need in order to give out those excellent answers that you're capable of giving. And that is the crude anecdote that I have said for absolutely no reason, but hopefully that has helped you to understand what I'm exactly trying to saying here. Basically, just as the anecdote quote thing goes, if you try to teach a fish to climb a tree, it will believe for the rest of its life that it is stupid. That comes from somewhere, can't remember exactly where, but we get the idea, I guess now. Another thing that I would like to debunk is mostly about how it could appear on a permanent record. This is something that I've heard a bit from adults, a bit concerned about getting evaluations for their children because they fear that they will essentially face discrimination when they go to find a job, or if they try to enter into university programs, their qualifications will be deemed lesser because they had extra time, or because they got rest breaks, because it shows that, oh no, you can't deal with the work environment, you can't deal with anything. And that is strictly not true. It is legally set in stone that companies are not allowed to view your medical records unless you allow them to. And that also goes the same for universities. They are legally not allowed to do so. And that goes for both American, UK, Spanish viewers as well are also here. So in Spain as well, we've also checked for all of Europe. In fact, I believe all of North America, and most developed countries also follow this, because it's seen as a human right that you're not allowed to discriminate against people for their disabilities, and people are not allowed to just know your medical records unless you allow them to, as it's seen as incredibly private information, and doctors are sworn onto this and not allowed to talk about what they talk about with you, otherwise they'll be stricken off. So that will hopefully calm those fears, but I often hear those a lot with the older generation especially, which I understand because they are coming from a time where issues such as this were much more looked down upon and could end up with them being persecuted against a lot of the time. Moving on from that, another point that I thought was interesting more to talk about was also how it can increase mainly mental health, in fact, which I found as after talking to people have notified that their mental health incredibly improved after they found out that, yes, what I'm feeling is validated, it's something that is not crazy and unusual, and in fact there's loads of people who also feel the exact same, and I can receive support and help for this. This, I believe, mainly stems from people before ever getting getting diagnosed. This mostly goes for people who only get identified when they are in rounds, maybe doing their GCSEs, or maybe perhaps only around A-levels time. They have gone through the school system for quite a while, just believing that they were just bad at exams, essentially, that they just couldn't keep up with the other kids, that they just were innately just stupid, and that is not a great feeling. And I can definitely relate to this, as I only got identified as having these conditions around perhaps 14 years old, and a lot of my other colleagues have mentioned that they one of them had it only like maybe 6-7 months ago. So even that, people have only done things quite recently. But the thoughts of being feeling that you've been seen and heard is actually quite powerful for many people, as it builds them out of this self-fulfilling cycle of believing that they are just stupid, and that leads to feeling a lot of self-doubt within yourself. And I believe that may be one of the main reasons why we see a huge correlation between those with neurodivergence disabilities, learning disabilities, often also having mental health issues as well, and depression, anxiety, all those things just stem from self-doubt and feeling like you're not good enough, essentially, and that needs to really change as well. This is all linked to socioeconomic factors. I can go on a whole rant about that, but I just wanted to keep this as short as possible because we're already running far away off track. But look at the description. If you feel like any of what I've mentioned previously, or you feel like you'd like to see how you can register for these sorts of accommodations, please do click on the link in the description and go on the website, and we'll try to help you as much as possible. Send us a message if you feel like anything else is missing, and hopefully we can help you on this STEM journey together. I think that's it for today. As always, stay extraordinary.